Time for worlds to collide when entitled parents enter the retail space. Whether or not you work there, watch out, because they'll demand something out of you anyway. This worker is just trying to buy what he needs at a hardware store when an entitled man insists that he stops to help him out. So he does, but in a surprising way that ends up not being at all what the entitled man expected. A generous youth worker agrees to buy gifts for a group of teens to make sure they have a wonderful Christmas. But the shopping trip only gets worse and worse, as one entitled person after the other gets his way. This entitled mother has her hit and run routine down pat, or maybe you could call it a demand and run. Either way, this woman just innocently taking her break has no idea what's about to hit her. How will our hero survive? You'll only find out by watching this episode of VoiceyHere's Entitled Parents, featuring IDontWorkHereLady. This story was called Think I Work Here and Demand Me to Move 30 Bags of Concrete? Okay, so I live in Australia, and we have a supply chain of hardware stores here called Bunnings Warehouse. Picture a hardware store for everyone, both tradesmen and your average Joe. I was a teenager at the time, and I was dressed in work clothes. I was working for a carpenter at the time. Steel cap boots, work pants, the whole deal. The most important thing about this all is my work shirt. My company uses a black button-up shirt, short sleeves, and collared. My company also had our logos plastered all over these things. For privacy reasons, I can't show you the logos, but these are the base shirts. Now, the people who work at this hardware store, they wear red polo shirts with green writing, the logo for their company. Also, if you're interested, search Bunnings Warehouse uniform. Now, I was riding shotgun with my boss. He had gone into the store, while I was in the timber yard, collecting some bags of concrete for the footings we were about to put in. I was moving some of the bags, one at a time, to my boss's work truck. These bags aren't overwhelmingly heavy, 20 kilograms, about 45 pounds. But I was only moving one at a time. The walk wasn't far, but this was at the start of the day. Last thing I wanted to do was injure myself before the real work had even started. I was on my 6th bag out of 13, when this man came up to me. He was your average do-it-yourselfer, certainly not a tradesman, just your average bloke, 50s, balding, and wanted to show off that they could successfully screw together a garden shed. He was just staring at the pile of concrete bags. For context, there are several different kinds of concrete for different purposes: rapid set, mortar, cement, etc. He then asked me what concrete he should use to put in some fence posts. I told him he would be looking at the rapid set. It would suit his needs perfectly. Considering he needed to ask what kind of concrete, I imagined that he hadn't actually done any sort of work like this before. So I gave him the lowdown. Dig your hole, pour the bag directly into the hole, wet it with your hose, dome it off. Pretty simple. So he said thanks, no issues here. So I grab my next bag and begin to take it to the truck. Here's where the fun begins. "What? Where are you going?" he asks. Now I'm quite confused at this point in time, and then I respond with, "Oh, I'm going to put these bags on the back of that truck. Is that a problem?" He replies with, "I'm the white Camry over there." It's always the dudes in the white Camry at Bunnings. Any tradesman who goes into Bunnings knows exactly the guy I'm talking about. Anyways, I stand there trying to figure out what's going on. "Well?" he asks. I figure out that he thinks that I work there. "Oh, sorry mate, I don't work here. I'm getting concrete for my job, and I'm on a tight schedule. Sorry mate." Now, usually if I didn't have to be somewhere, I would have given anyone a hand. Moving these bags sucks, but he doesn't seem to believe me. "What? Look at you. Of course you work here. You got the right clothes and everything." I try to reply, and he doesn't want to have a bar of it. He goes off and says he's walking away. "You better have all 30 bags on my car before I get back. Step on it." Well, my dearest friend, be careful what you wish for. It didn't matter that I was busy. This was the new priority. Cue the malicious compliance / petty revenge part of my story. His exact words were, "You better have all 30 bags on my car before I get back." His car had a box trailer. I knew exactly what he meant. But no sir. I tried to tell you otherwise, but you did not listen. I needed to move, so I started moving the bags, 2 at a time. I placed them all over his car, 2 on the bonnet, 6 on the trunk, and the rest perfectly layering the roof. I see him walk out. He sees his car, and this man's jaw hits the floor. He nearly had a heart attack. "My car! What the frick have you done to my car?" I had a grin from ear to ear. "I put all 30 bags on your car, just like you asked." I was giggling like a toddler. Now after much screaming, I told him to can it, and he could move it himself. I was late as it was, and my boss was getting impatient. However, he watched this all, and was laughing too. "Sorry mate, I have to go to my actual job now, so you're going to have to move these yourself." He was not happy, but hey, at least the bags were now significantly closer to his car. He sucked it up and began to move them. I was walking back to my car when I heard him yell. The thing about these bags of concrete is that if you don't support them underneath and just grab them from the sides, they tend to split clean down the middle, dumping all the concrete of the bag in a messy pile directly underneath the bag. He had split a bag clean down the middle whilst trying to take it off the roof. This thing spilled its contents all over the roof and windshield of his car, and it was the funniest thing to happen yet. He got the job done eventually, but not before splitting 3 more bags. His car was covered in concrete dust. I left him there, car covered in concrete, whilst he admitted defeat. "This one's on you, Camry guy. This one's on you." Alright, if I ever see this bloke, I am going over to the Bunnings sausage sizzle. I'm gonna grab a $2 coin out of my pocket. I'm gonna buy a Bunnings snag and hand it to this champion. What a top bloke we have here. This story was called 2 for 1 deal on Karens, just in time for Christmas. For context, I'm reasonably unconventional appearance-wise. Very multicolored hair, multiple tattoos, and facial piercings. Generally a bit scruffy looking. I definitely rock a look I'd be unlikely to get away with working retail. And today I was wearing a black t-shirt with a pair of tie-dyed pants so baggy that they fit my fat butt with room for a few friends and maybe a surfboard. Honestly, no part of these pants aside from the waistband actually touches my skin, and I love them beyond all reason, fashion crime aside. I work in a school for very disadvantaged teenagers, and stupidly volunteered to do Christmas for them, which means a present for everyone enrolled. 26 girls, 36 boys, and food hampers for the families who otherwise won't have anything nice to eat over the holidays. About 30. I had 4 hours to get this done on a budget, and I'm exhausted and traumatized, and very, very underpaid. Thanks so very much. For gifts, I decided on perfume/colognes. As incredible as I like to pretend to be sometimes, I doubted my ability to find something personal for all 62 kids in a single shopping trip, and it's a luxury they wouldn't otherwise be able to enjoy. So off to the major discount chemist I go. It was hell. There were more people in this pharmacy than I thought existed in my entire city, and of course all of them are in the perfume section. People are literally climbing over each other. It looked like the videos I've seen of Black Friday sales in America. Seriously, how do you do that to yourselves? Every year? I actually turned on my heel and walked back out to the van, but reminded myself it's for the kids. Several thousand times before driving back in. 40 minutes and some mild bruising later, I had 4 baskets full of perfume and cologne, and was carefully making my way towards the end of the queue. Approximately 3.5 kilometers from the checkout, when my shoulder was firmly tapped. I looked over to see a total Karen, in 3/4 jeans, a pastel blouse, and the "I want to speak to the manager" haircut. Just a complete walking meme. "Yes?" "I need one of those." She pointed to one of the perfumes in my topmost basket. They were over in the perfume section, but I'm pretty sure I got the last one." I turned and kept maneuvering my tower of baskets towards the queue. She stepped around me, nearly knocking over my freaking baskets, and blocked the aisle. "Staff can't just buy everything on sale before customers. Put them back." She shouted the last bit. Who shouts? I have never needed to shout. "I don't work here. I'm shopping. You're in my way. Move." It's hot, I'm already exhausted. I'm trying to do maths in my head. Do not mess with me. She reached into my basket and grabbed the perfume she wanted. My jaw hit the floor, and I genuinely had no idea how to respond. I mean, I wasn't gonna fight a middle-aged woman for a $15 bottle of perfume. My other options didn't sound great either. Fight my way back to the front of the store with my leaning tower of baskets and search for another perfume in the right price range, or for a staff member to help me. So I just stared at her, completely baffled as to what was happening right that moment, and she stared back, as if daring me to do something. Thankfully, she had drawn the attention of a security guard, who took back the perfume, told her off for harassing customers, and asked her to continue her shopping or leave. Lovely security guard also took my baskets and put them behind the counter so I could join the queue and pay for them when I got to the front. Bless him. I congratulated myself for surviving another I don't work here encounter and coming in under budget, and moved on to the next part of the shopping hell, hampers. This required a trip to a major supermarket, and I knew I'd need about 4 trolleys worth of groceries. Inspired by a lovely security guard, I spoke to customer service when I got there, explained what I was doing, and they allowed me to bring each trolley to the customer service desk when it was full, so I could continue shopping and pay all at once at the end. They also offered to help me get it all out to the van. Lovely customer service. I was halfway through trolley 3 when I hear an "Excuse me." I turned around thinking, oh great, not again. Go away, Karen. To see a perfectly nice looking little old lady. Phew.
Where will I find baking soda?
Sorry, no idea. Baking soda was not on my list, and the only thing that mattered in this moment was my list, written in purple texter, because someone at my work must eat biros, on the back of a reading comprehension worksheet, crumpled and sweaty, and nearly unreadable.
What do you mean you have no idea? You're doing the shelves.
She gestured around me, my trolley, my list, and the near empty shelf behind me. I mean, if by doing the shelves she means removing 30 of everything from them, then sure, I was doing the shelves. I don't usually shop here. Ask up the front. I didn't think it was necessary to tell her that I didn't work here. I was wearing red, and my pants can be seen from space, so even if her eyesight wasn't great, I wasn't in anything approaching a uniform. Unless stoners have uniforms now. I wasn't even close to done for the day. I still had shopping to do. Then I had to get it all back to campus, unpack it, split it out into hampers, and pack it back up, wrap 62 presents, and write tags and cards for all of it. I had less than 2 hours left. I was running on pure adrenaline and constant mantra of, "It's for the kids." Which is of course when the nice old lady revealed herself to be nothing more than a retired Karen, and started screeching about bad service and calling managers. I couldn't even muster the effort to respond. I just kept wandering down the aisles, periodically emptying shelves into my trolley. She followed me, screeching, for 2 whole aisles. Unfortunately for her, I work with teenagers, and there's no amount of noise I can't drown out. She was at the customer service desk when I went to deposit trolley 3, complaining about the rude staff member that wouldn't help her find baking soda. She didn't see me, so I continued on, leaving her to describe me to a baffled employee at the service desk. Sorry mate, I've got stuff to do. Never volunteering to do Christmas again. Not without a raise, time off in lieu, and a puppy. I'm sure all of us have confused somebody for maybe working in a store before. Like you see someone just standing there in the clothes that look like the stores, and it doesn't mean you've necessarily gone up and approached them, but you kind of look and you're like, maybe that person. But usually the reason why is because they look like they're dressed as an employee. I don't understand these people who just go up to people, and because what, the shelves behind them are empty, and they've got a trolley full of stuff? And if they're saying they don't work there, just find somebody who will help you. This fan-submitted story was called "Client Wants Extra Days While I'm on a Trip, or Else I Don't Get Paid." Okay, so a bit of background info. This just happened about 20 to 30 minutes ago. So I am 14 and I do pet sitting / walking. This is how I get my money for various things that I want. I made good money, and have many good reviews and recommendations. And let's be honest, this is the best job I could have. It's kinda just being paid to get exercise and have fun with as many pets as I would like. I had just finished watching after my client's bird. The deal was I would come over to my client's house every day at 9:45 AM and at 8:45 PM for 1 week while she was on a trip. I would feed the bird, clean out the cage, and to replace water if needed, and of course to play with it. I was heading to Disneyland with about 30 friends to spend our teacher workday week at. The following exchange occurred while I was on the bus. My client calls me.
"Hey, where are you? You have to come in today. I don't see you on my cameras."
Our agreement stated that I would come in on the 6th through yesterday.
"No, our agreement was that you would come in today."
Give me a moment, I need to check something. I open up the app I used to log all the times I worked for someone, and the email said that I would work until the day I stated. I called her back. "Ma'am, the contract states that I wouldn't come in today. I checked the email I got from you, and the website I use is log of my work. They all say that I don't work to—"
"No, you come in or you won't get paid."
This bird wasn't the easiest. I had been scratched several times. I was happy to finish my work for her. Now she was holding my pay. "Ma'am, I'm 3 hours away. I can't come in. Even if I could, I wouldn't, because I don't work for you anymore." My friend somehow overhearing most of this. "Just end the call. You don't have to talk to her anymore." I end the call and rest for a minute until I get a notification on the app for the website. "Client has left a review on your account." I check it because I know what's going to be there. My name didn't do his job. He didn't come in at all. He just wants the money and to do no work at all. I would not suggest hiring him to work for you. I was able to comment on the review like I can for all other reviews for me. I commented this: "I'm sorry to hear that, but what you said isn't correct. I came in on the scheduled days and times, only late by 15 minutes once. You want me to come in tonight, but the agreement stated that I wouldn't, and I couldn't even if I wanted to." Once I commented on the review, she must have seen the response, and she called me again. And this happened.
"Why won't you come in? You have to now or you're not getting paid."
I was getting annoyed at this point, so I kinda went crazy. "You know what, lady? I don't work for you. And while I did it, it was the worst experience I have ever had. You have to pay me. I did my job. And I don't have to come in today because our contract said so. I would suggest you get someone else or a friend to take care of your bird tonight, because I am sure as heck not."
"I'm calling the police. You will see my lawyer soon."
This is where I got to. I called my mom and told her the situation, then typed this. This story was called, "Oh Good, Childcare." Some background. Prior to moving away a few years ago, I worked as a receptionist for a large building in a major city. As it was an urban setup, the bottom floor of the building was retail, a grocery store, with the above floors being a mix of office space, doctors' offices, etc. The building was also directly above a subway stop and on a major road heading downtown, so had a bus stop and a ton of taxis around 24/7. Basically, hundreds if not thousands of people moved by this building an hour, and within 10 minutes of walking out of the front, there were 100 places you could be in the city. Anyway, as I'm a receptionist, I spent 99% of my day sitting at my desk in an office that was freezing, no matter the time of year. Since on this particular day it was beautiful out, one of the first nice days after winter, I decided to sit outside on my lunch break. I got something from the salad bar from the grocery store downstairs, and then took a seat on one of the benches out in front of the building. About halfway through my salad, a woman, not a typical Karen, but perhaps a typical Allegra, that is to say, a super busy, doesn't work besides yoga classes and crystal cleansers too rich to be an actual hippie mum, suddenly appears with a small stroller that had to cost more than my car. "Thank goodness you're on break. You can watch," whatever stupid name she'd given her daughter that I've forgotten. I wish I could say something witty, but I'd barely registered the woman's appearance, let alone that she had been talking to me, that I barely got out a "what?" before she grabbed her Louis Vuitton bag and had disappeared into the grocery store. Now, let me reiterate. I am sitting outside the grocery store that I don't even work in, nor look like I work in, since even the managers wore polo, not blouses in there, right by about 6 different ways to disappear into the city and never be seen again, if I really had it in my head that I wanted this woman's child. Since I'm not a psychopath, I didn't decide to try kidnapping, and just finished my salad with the baby there. Luckily, Allegra was obviously running late for whatever Reiki healing juice cleanse she was going to, and so reappeared in not too long. So I didn't have to figure out getting back to work. But lady, even if it were okay to just dump your kid with workers while you shop, which it isn't, maybe check that the person is actually an employee and inside the store before just wandering off? I'm still surprised I haven't seen that baby on the evening news. You'd kinda hope that later, the lady would think about it and be like, wait a minute, was that person actually a childcare worker? And then have a mini freak out, realizing what could have happened. It's the only way they'll learn, if they will ever learn. If you'd like your story to be narrated by me, don't forget to visit the subreddit r/VoiceyHere, link below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.
No, you come in or you won't get paid.